Mr. Ambassador, hi.
Hello.
Thanks for your support of your country, of your people, of my nation. It's very, very important that here in Bratislava, I think it's a very symbolic place, east of Europe, former socialistic Soviet camp, I would say. But I have two very, very simple questions. One concerning the institutional support of your country. These politicians, they use topics sometimes Ukraine, post-war, war, consequences of the war. But what is really happening concerning the American support of Ukraine?
So let me begin by saying that I think the world and the American people are in admiration and awe for what the Ukrainian people have done since February 24th, 2022, Slava Ukraini. And what I can assure you is that U.S. support for Ukraine will continue. President Biden and the Biden administration have made it clear that we will stand with Ukraine as long as necessary. And it's not just President Biden and the Biden administration. There's been strong bipartisan support on the Hill for appropriations for money for Ukraine and for support in helping Ukraine defeat this terrible, terrible Russian invasion.
Yeah, this support is unique. Military, humanitarian, and we really appreciate your support. And when we speak about the so-called bipartisan support, whether we can say that it's also exists this support of both parties, not only one party.
It absolutely does. Let me also say that I serve as the U.S. ambassador to Slovakia, and Slovakia has been absolutely fantastic in supporting Ukraine. It's provided almost 668 million euros in support, including that's 300 system, MiG-29s, and they deserve a great deal of credit. Also taking in over 1 million refugees. And so I also want to acknowledge that Slovakia has been a fantastic supporter in helping Ukraine. But it's clear that the bipartisan support exists in the U.S. Congress. Senator Mitch McConnell has been very vocal about how the Republicans support Ukraine. Senator Lindsey Graham has been one of the strongest supporters. Senator Tom Cotton on the House of Representatives side, Representative Mike McCall. That's what I mean. If you look at the congressional appropriations, when Congress has said we will give money to Ukraine, that has had strong bipartisan support, not just Democrats, but also Republicans. And that shows you where Congress is and where the American people are.
Thank you for your support. My last question concerning the possible status of Ukraine in NATO. Yesterday, the former defense minister said that he don't see now that the place for Ukraine will be, in the next Vilnius summit. However, he regards seriously Ukraine as an ally of NATO. And we actually in Ukraine see that we are a very reliable partner of NATO. NATO is a reliable partner of us. So don't you think that this possible integration of Ukraine of NATO can be also very politicized by some politicians in Europe and the United States, that Ukraine should be in NATO or it should be in NATO? So what we actually will see in the next years in this thing?
No, it's a great question. But again, I'm the U.S. ambassador to Slovakia, so I'm not really in a position to answer this. I'm going to have to defer to my colleagues in Kyiv and Brussels, the U.S. mission in NATO, and of course, to my colleagues at the State Department in Washington. But it's a great question. I think it is something that lots of countries are discussing right now.
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador.
Thank you very much.